Stellantis is facing challenges in its North American operations. In fact, Stellantis posted a 21% drop in second quarter in U.S. sales.
It is true that the transition that we are going through is immensely challenging, and this is a bump. There will be other bumps. This will last for a few years. This is not a short-term turmoil.
Is Stellantis on the verge of collapsing? Recent reports have revealed the shocking situation at Stellantis. Brands such as Dodge, Ram, and Jeep are in a freefall. As if that's not worrying enough, Chrysler could be on its deathbed. And if you thought that this was just some short-term issue, then you might be in for a shocker. Industry experts are warning that this might be a signal that the worst is yet to come at Stellantis and within the larger automobile industry. So what exactly is going on at Stellantis? Can the situation be salvaged, or is it beyond reversible? Stellantis is on a downward spiral. Its shares are down 41% in 2024. Also, in the first half of the year, the automaker's net revenue was $93.7 billion, down 14% year-on-year. Its net profit was $6.2 billion, a whopping 48% drop compared to 2023. Car sales in the United States have also plummeted 20% year-on-year to just 305,294. This is also a significant decline from the 659,000 vehicles that the company sold in the same period in 2019. Now, let's focus on the most affected brands. Jeep has fallen 6%, Ram truck sales have fallen 19%, Dodge has fallen 43%, and Chrysler is the most affected, with a whopping 47% drop in sales, all in the space of just a single year. The situation is so bad that Barclays analysts have downgraded its stock. They've also warned that recovery signs are fading day by day and that we might not see the stock improving anytime, at least not until early 2025 at the earliest. Shares have also fallen to $13.07, the lowest in almost 2 years. And if you thought that the dwindling sales were due to supply chain issues, then you're wrong. On the contrary, Stellantis finds itself staring at an overabundance of inventory that is sitting idle in many dealer lots. The thing you need to know is that the company's vehicles sit at these lots for about 100 days, more than twice the industry average of 50 days. The situation is so bad that even the Stellantis National Dealer Council has openly called out the company's chief executive, Carlos Tavares, for what it's termed as reckless short-term decision-making that was only aimed at securing a record bottom line, but with drastic long-term implications. And things go from bad to worse for Stellantis. Recently, the automaker announced layoffs that further reflected the company's current situation. So, how did Stellantis find itself in these murky waters? What are some of the decisions attributed to Tavares that put the company in such deep trouble? The first and main issue is the engineering decision to shift from traditional engines. Perhaps the most talked about change is seen in the Ram truck, where Stellantis swapped the famous 5.7-liter Hemi V8 that had powered the truck for more than 2 decades for the Hurricane 3.0-liter twin-turbo inline-6. The company claimed that the change was aimed at improving emissions. However, customers have complained that the change has resulted in a degraded driving experience. Some of these reviews were so bad that even some customers equated the driving experience to that of a standard Camry. Also, others predicted that it wouldn't be long before the engine started having valve issues due to its direct injection nature. All in all, this change did not sit well with many enthusiasts. Also, do you remember the layoffs you talked about previously? Well, these were caused by the company's decisions to cease production of its most affordable Ram trim, the Ram 1500 Classic Pickup. Also, Stellantis has seemingly overlooked the power of aggressive marketing and innovative and future-oriented thinking. You see, the company has admitted that despite having the right cars and the right technologies, it needs to double down on its marketing. This is because it lacks prospects and leads. To understand this point better, we can look at the company's plug-in hybrid or electric pickup options. The thing is, it's lagging behind its rivals in the United States. Therefore, its inability to excel in this front puts it at a significant disadvantage. And in more concerning news, Stellantis recently made the controversial decision to increase the prices of its brands, despite these brands experiencing a significant nosedive in the number of units sold within the last year. Many customers noticed an increase in prices of some of these vehicles, such as the Chrysler Pacifica. This counterproductive move was initially meant to keep the profitability margins at optimal levels, but has clearly proven to be ineffective. Customers are clearly unwilling to buy what they term as overpriced vehicles that might not live up to the hype. Also, the presence of other seemingly better alternatives in the market makes things worse for Stellantis. But you know what might make things better for us? If you took a second to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any content that we post. Now, back to the video. A closer look at some of the models that Stellantis offers shows that there's a gradual shrinking of models' portfolio to unprofitable levels. One such example is Chrysler, which only has the Chrysler 300 luxury sedan and the Pacifica minivan. This shrinking increases the vulnerability of this model to market volatility and also increases the risk as it only relies on the two vehicles to reach sustainable profit levels. Clearly, this cannot be a long-term profitability for Stellantis. Now, here's something that might shock you. As Stellantis was experiencing all these turbulent times, Tavares took home a compensation package totaling a staggering $40.6 million in 2023, representing a 56% increase from 2022. It's disheartening that the chief executive was smiling all the way to the bank as dealers were grappling with idle inventories and diminished sales, shares were plummeting, and more workers were being laid off. What have all these decisions resulted in? The outcomes are shocking. In the outspoken letter that the Stellantis National Dealer Council wrote to Mr. Tavares, the dealers made the worrying remarks, "The course that you had set for Stellantis in the US was going to be a disaster in the long run. A disaster not just for us, but for everyone involved. And now, that disaster has arrived." True to its words, the disaster that the Dealer Council was talking about is unfolding right in front of our eyes. In March 2024, Stellantis showed signs of ceasing the production of the Jeep Cherokee after putting its production plant in idle status, with an imminent closure becoming more likely. Tavares attributed this decision to the financial difficulties that the company is facing. If nothing is done, we're bound to see more Stellantis production plants sitting idle, which only means more layoffs and further declining sales and profit margins. As we have said previously, more dealers are grappling with inventory that's just sitting pretty at their lots. This has significant implications for their overall profitability and harms their ability to remain afloat for a long time. Unfortunately, this means that the sales staff of these dealerships are also left with no work, culminating in significant turnovers. The situation is so bad that some of these sales staff have to rely on housing assistance and welfare benefits. In August, we also received news that the Stellantis Trenton plant that's responsible for producing V6 Pentastar engines for Rams, Chryslers, and Jeeps was going to shut down in a move aimed at balancing engine inventories. By the time of closure, the plant had already produced about 20,700 engines that were yet to be mounted on their respective vehicles. The big question is, what's next for Stellantis? Stellantis faces a crucial decision point. It can continue with the strategy and hope for a miracle, or initiate drastic changes. Currently, the company seems to be leaning more toward initiating drastic changes. Just recently, the company confirmed that it had already started looking for a successor to Mr. Tavares. The successor will take over once the incumbent's term expires in 2026. Also, we cannot write off the possibility of Tavares' resignation in case the seat gets too hot for him. Now, there's a possibility that Stellantis could face more labor-related challenges in the near future. This is after the United Auto Workers Union urged workers to authorize a strike after what they termed to be the failure of the company to keep its promises. If this strike becomes a reality, Stellantis could grapple with more production issues that could only add to the challenges facing it at the moment. In any case, Stellantis faces pretty tough times ahead.